Welcome back, dear friends, to your favorite craft beer podcast. I am your co-host, Dr. Samuel J., and in a moment you're going to hear my co-host, Jay Schrader, along with our guest, Jeff Tyler, co-owner and co-founder of Spice Trade Brewing Company here in Denver, Colorado. We went over to meet with Jeff at Spice Trade's new location, which is in Greenwood Village / Denver Tech Center here in Colorado. Spice Trade has been around for a few years. They are a brewery that began in collaboration with Yak and Yeti, which is a well-known Indian and Nepalese food establishment here in Colorado. But I'm going to let Jeff tell more about the story. We're just going to jump into it. We covered a lot of ground. Jeff was a really smart and entertaining dude. It was a blast chatting with him. It was really fun to go over to Spice Trade because it is about half a mile from my house and about a half mile from Jay's work. It was nice to get out of the house. It was nice to socially distance and wear our masks and have a conversation with a really fun person at a really fun place. If you can get yourself down to Spice Trade sometime soon, it is well worth the trip. Fantastic food, fantastic beer, really great vibe. And for those of us out in the suburbs, a place like Spice Trade is often hard to find. But alas, please enjoy the episode and enjoy our conversation with Jeff Tyler from Spice Trade Brewing Company.
This episode is brought to you by Elon Naturals. Handcrafted in Boulder, Colorado, Elon's all-natural products are made with CBD extracted from Colorado certified hemp. Ryan and Alec Nyberg, good friends of ours, founders and co-owners of Elon, as well as big supporters of craft beer, including being supporters of the SIP Beer Fest we did earlier this year, use no toxins, no chemicals, and only certified organic ingredients in everything that they make. Whether you're looking for bath bombs, foot soaks, lip balms, pain sticks, or tinctures, Elon has you covered. And they make pet products too. Find Elon Naturals on Instagram and Facebook and place your order now at elonnaturals.com. When you do, plug in the promo code UNFiltered20 at checkout for 20% off your order. Again, that's UNFiltered20. Plug it in at checkout at elonnaturals.com for 20% off your order. This episode is also brought to you by RoofTech Precision Exteriors. Founded by a fourth-generation roofing expert and 2 veteran general contractors, RoofTech combines unmatched residential and commercial roofing knowledge with project management excellence, which means that your next roofing project will not only be handled by those that know what they're doing, but know how to complete your project without wasting your time. Find RoofTech on Instagram and Facebook and learn more at rooftechco.com. That's ROOFTECCO.com. And when you schedule your roof replacement project, mention Unfiltered and receive a free upgrade to impact-resistant Class 4 shingles. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds like it's a hell of a deal. Again, that's rooftechco.com.
One last voice is calling you.
Sweat just kind of pours out of me.
You got to take
disgusting.
a break every once in a while.
Being at home with 3 kids is not easy. So, Jay, where are we today?
We're at Spice Trade Brewing Company in the heart of the DTC.
Oh, my
The
God.
soul, the heart of DTC.
Denver Tech Center, finally making it cool. Long overdue as far as I'm concerned.
And who are we with? Sir, would you introduce yourself?
So I'm Jeff Tyler. I'm the head brewer and one of the owners here at Spice Trade Brewery.
Okay, so you've been in this, I don't want to, jump too far ahead. Spice Trade is a relatively well-known name in craft beer, not just in Colorado, but I think beyond. You've won several awards. You have a very unique thing. Why are you still brewing? Shouldn't you be, running multiple locations now and, being a billionaire?
Sure, yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
I'd love for that to be the case. We just finished a major expansion that's like years in the works. So that's where we're sitting right now. So I'm looking for a little bit of a breather before I start some new expansion project. But so Spice Trade was born out of the Yak and Yeti Brew Pub, which was a brewery inside of the Yak and Yeti Indian restaurant in Old Town Arvada. They opened up in 2008. I came on board in 2016, and then I rebranded it to Spice Trade Brewing in 2017. Worked on getting our beer in cans, which we now distribute all over the state of Colorado, and actually even we've started distributing across state lines. And I've also been working on opening up this place, which massively increases our brewing capacity, gives us a lot more modern equipment, and lets us do a lot of fun things with beer and food pairing that we haven't been able to do before.
So let's go back to Yak and Yeti.
Yeah,
just
please.
Real quick, okay. If you're from Denver, if you live in the Denver area, Yak and Yeti is a name that you probably know relatively well. If you're not, explain Yak and Yeti, I guess, for listeners outside of
Yep.
Denver.
So Yak and Yeti is an Indian, Nepalese, and Tibetan restaurant. So food from that part of the world. The owner, Dol Batrai, is from Nepal. He opened up the first Yak and Yeti, I think, in 2002 in Westminster. The Arvada location was his second location. Now there's 4 total Yak and Yeti restaurants. But when he bought the second location, it used to be an English-style brew pub called the Cheshire Cat. So it already had a brewery attached to it.
I
So
used
he
to
doesn't
hang
even-
out at the Cheshire Cat
Did you
years
really?
and years and years ago. I never even made the connection.
Yeah, so it's the same building. So it still had a brewery in it, and he's like, let's just keep making beer. So he doesn't even drink alcohol at all, and he hired a brewer to kind of get the place up and running and develop some recipes to make under their name.
That
What
is
year
a
was-
smart man.
Yeah, no shit. What year was that he bought?
That was in 2008.
2008.
Yeah.
Okay, so at that time, I guess 2008. What's going on in Denver in terms of the craft?
I
beer
mean, that
going?
was like the financial crisis.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
subprime
Nothing
mortgage
was going on with
business.
beer. I mean, people were in the middle of the first recession,
Uh-huh.
our first recession,
Yeah.
frankly. Yeah. So you're looking at some of the big names that we like to talk about as kind of the forerunners. None of them were even around, or maybe they were brewing in garages at that point. So yeah, this kind of predates, I think, a lot of the other stuff that we've looked at.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very much a brew. It's a brew pub with kind of a funky vibe. You don't think about an Indian restaurant and a brewery really together ever. It's a really kind of fun, unique, kind of adventurous place. So,
But to me, I guess, not to cut you off, but beer and Indian food actually go together, in my opinion. You know, like I think Kingfisher, right? And you know, when I go to an Indian restaurant, I always get that. It's just, you know, continually get, you know, a good beer to go with it. What is to kind of is there a history there with India, Nepalese food and beer, or
I mean, not a traditional history. You know,
Okay.
even today, Nepal and India, they don't have a major craft beer scene. They have like big imperial lagers, and honestly, that works really well with the temperature. It's really hot there, and I think you touched on something that's super important. Is like I think beer goes really well with Indian food because of how much flavor Indian food tends to have. Like if you have a really light, crisp, like Pilsner or something just easy, you can kind of help like cut through all that flavor and reset your palate for another bite because it can be overwhelming if you're having like tikka masala and it's just kind of like a full-on assault on your
Loaded up.
senses.
So
I've been talking too
yeah,
much.
you talk always talk too much.
Take over.
I know we're on a limited budget of time for a change today, so let me ask you this, Jeff. How do you go from being a brew pub inside a restaurant to now you're head brewer owner of what I would call a new brewery? I mean, did you guys carve up ownership, or is your previous boss and an owner of Yak and Yeti still involved? How does that work?
Yeah, he is. So there's 3 owners here. Myself and Dole. He's the owner of all the Yak and Yeti restaurants, and this was a big business expansion for him. I moved out to Colorado so a little bit on my background just to kind of it'll make a
please.
little bit of
No,
sense.
No, well, yes,
We do
yes.
actually like that. We want to know about the brewer.
We
and
just
the
don't have
brewery.
a clear path. We just
Yeah.
kind of, where do we go?
We'll jump there and then we'll
Yeah,
go back.
for
But
sure.
Sometimes the organic work, and sometimes it doesn't.
So before I was a brewer, I was a mechanical engineer. So I went to school for mechanical engineering.
Where?
At Northeastern in Boston.
Okay.
So I spent about 10 years in Boston doing mechanical engineering. I worked at iRobot on the Roomba vacuum cleaner. I worked at a biofuels company. I worked at a like medical device consulting firm for a little while. So kind of a lot of different types of companies.
Okay.
But it's ironic that I ended up moving back here because I got into brewing after I took a work trip out to Colorado Springs when I was working at a biofuels company, and the first real craft beer here I ever had was at Trinity down in Colorado Springs.
All right.
And so I had that, and that kind of opened my eyes to what craft beer could be. Got into home brewing, and then my engineering background, I just kept building more equipment.
So you weren't brewing back in Boston, like? Or,
I was, yeah.
Okay, so you were, but were you drinking craft beer there prior to coming out here?
Not really. Like, I mean,
Really?
I had Sam Adams, right? Everyone,
Yeah,
Sam Adams is a thing, but, like, Boston didn't have, like, a really ingrained craft beer scene. There was, like, Harpoon,
Yep.
and there was Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams. Those are like the two ones. And then there is a really good brew pub called the Cambridge Brewing Company in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which makes killer beer.
Okay.
But that was like it.
I haven't heard you mention Boston Beer Works yet.
No,
Well, that's
Do they
a thing
count?
also.
Wait,
Well,
what
they
is
put blueberries
Boston
in their beer and it
Works?
floats up and down.
Dude, yeah,
and
they had a blueberry lager
Yeah.
that they put
my
blueberries
put
in
blueberries
it.
in and the
And then they'd mix it with the watermelon lager.
Yeah.
It was like that.
It was nuts, but it worked for the humidity, I'll tell you that much.
yeah, it did work.
So you taste a good beer here at Trinity, then you go back to the East Coast. Walk us through that process. You knew you wanted a home brew, but I mean, were you
Yeah.
buying the equipment, and then what
So I
happened?
kind of like started homebrewing. You know, when you start homebrewing, you make a bunch of crappy beer. You
Okay.
know, it's like not great, and you
Yeah.
get better and better. And so I just kept doing it. I really enjoyed the process. I love cooking also. Like I love flavors and cooking at home. So
Okay.
brewing was like a really cool hybrid between like the art of and the fun of the culinary aspect of cooking, but also the science part of things, because there's like you have to understand chemistry and microbiology because you're dealing with yeast, and you have to understand engineering because you're dealing with pumps and heat exchangers and all sorts of things. So I love the technical side, but I love the creative side of it too. And it got to the point where I kept building new equipment and new stuff, and I was living in Boston, so it was cold and I couldn't brew all year round. So I ended up renting industrial space with one of my buddies who had like a startup business, and I was home brewing out of like this industrial space on nights and weekends. And that was kind of the point where I was like, all right, it's kind of time to do this professionally, or try, or just take
Stop.
it
Yeah.
back a couple notches, chill out a little bit.
Were you
with it.
dating somebody at this point, or were you
I was.
married?
All
All right.
I wasn't married. I'm not married either.
She's still around? I mean,
She's not. She's
okay.
not. I don't want to say that brewing killed it.
The industrial space won, though.
Yeah, the industrial space one.
All right.
So what made you decide to go from I should give this up to all right, I'm 110% in now?
I think it just came down to like I wanted to do something that I was really excited about doing every day. Like I got into my job and I loved my job and I loved my coworkers and the work was great and it paid really well, but I just wasn't super passionate about it. I didn't like wake up every day and I wasn't like, oh, this is like I'm going to mess around with something cool today and have a good time. So I really wanted to see if that passion path worked out. And so that was kind of what drove me there.
You seem like a really smart guy. So what kind of thought process were you going through in order to follow that passion? Was it obviously did you think, can I make enough money to survive in Boston by doing this? Or was it, fuck it, I'm 100% in and I'm going to do it?
Well, I had really wanted to open my own brewery. Naively, I wanted to open my own brewery. That was like, I was like,
Okay.
I'm going to open my own brewery. I'm a home brewer. I make good beer, which is like something that every home brewer thinks at some point.
Yes.
And going through the process, it's like, I realize now why that's a super naive thought. But, I've created this business plan and was working with a couple of friends who were chefs to try to get a beer and food pairing centric place off the ground. Wow. And I wanted to move out here because I wanted to get into the beer industry in what I thought was the best state in the country.
Okay.
For beer.
If you want to be a movie star, you go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like if you want to learn how to brew the best beer in the country, I thought you go to Denver, Colorado. They have the most amazing breweries in the country. So that's what drove me to come here. And then I got here, I sold everything I owned, and I put all my homebrewing equipment in a trailer behind my Subaru Impreza and drove out here with it. And I couldn't find a job to save my life. No one would hire me. I couldn't even get a job on a packaging line.
You're like, I have all this shit that I will give you.
Yeah.
And they still wouldn't take you.
Yep, and no one would hire me because I didn't have any background, I didn't have any history, I didn't have any professional experience. And now I realize Colorado's a really tight-knit community too, Everybody knows everyone. It's a great community once you're in it, but it's hard to break into because if you're trying to get an entry-level job, there's probably 4 or 5 people someone else know at another brewery that they're going to give the job to before you.
What year was this, by the way? Real quick.
2016.
2016. Okay.
Yeah.
That year.
So, did Yak and Yeti give you the first real
So Yak
shot?
and Yeti was my first shot. So
Wow.
I applied for a head brewer position at Yak and Yeti. Didn't really think I was going to get it. I had like 5 working interviews before they gave me the job. Finally got the job. And it was a one-man brewing operation. And it was really challenging because the equipment is old and you need to understand. The old guy who was running the place, Adam Drager, he was a mechanical engineer also. And I think he realized in order to make beer on that system,
You need
kind of had to be an engineer. So he gave me the job, and pretty soon after, because I had already done all this legwork as far as like business plans and conceptualizing the idea, Dole he already had plans in the works to expand the brewery side of the business. So it was like the perfect marriage where I was like, I'm ready to expand this, but I want to learn. And he's like, I'm ready to fund this because I already want to do this for my business. So it was like perfect, super lucky timing, and then just a ton of hard work from there.
Yeah, how many people luck into that kind of first brewing opportunity?
I don't know.
You're probably the only guy we've talked to that's been like, yeah, I tried, I got a head brewer job. Everybody else is like, was on the fucking packaging line, and then I was hosing down kegs.
So someday I'll bring you to Yak and Yeti. I was there this morning, kegging a bunch of beer, but you'll see that it's probably equivalent to running a packaging line for 5 years.
That's good to know.
So it's a 156-year-old house.
Yeah, it's like a big old
mansion, kind of
Victorian mansion. Yeah, it used to have all these little rooms too.
Yeah.
It was sweet.
Half the brewery's in the basement. The cold room's in the basement. So every time you sell a keg, you got to carry it up 2 flights of stairs. Like the glycol chiller is in the basement, so it was 98 degrees down there this morning. It's like it tests your patience.
So you put up with some shit.
I would say that. Yeah.
Nobody's challenging you on your street credit.
I don't know.
Sounds
like you are.
Not me. No, God, no. I just drink the beer.
You talk very affectionately about Dahl. Are you very close to them? I would assume.
Yeah, I mean we've become close. I mean we're business partners, so we spend a lot of time together. He's a really interesting person. He's built a restaurant empire from nothing. You should have. I mean, if this was a show about restaurateurs, you should have.
Well, we should have.
We can do that. Yeah.
So he grew up in a small village in Nepal, had nothing. His story is crazy. They're finishing up a documentary on his life story because he goes from a small village in Nepal with nothing to in the U.S. to having the person who brought him here steal his passport in New York City, and he had to run away from him because he was kind of holding him hostage, to moving out here to opening up this restaurant chain, and now he's like got this great business empire. I really respect him for what he's done.
We want that interview.
Yeah, for sure. Next time we do this, we'll come up there. We'll do the mansion interview. We'll make sure we get him in there.
So I'm glad you told us that you were brewing today at the Arvada location. Is that still a functional operating brewery?
So it is still a functional operating brewery. We'll brew there every now and then, like small batch stuff.
Okay.
Most of the stuff's going to come out of here because it just makes more sense to do that. But, I mean, we're still over there. It's still a functioning brewery.
And at some point, was there or was there not a stretch in Old Town Arvada that was not attached to the restaurant? Or am I getting that confused with something?
Say that again?
Was there a different location outside of the restaurant in Arvada?
A Spice Trade location?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It was only just the
It's only ever
location.
been in the Yak and Yeti restaurant. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm thinking of.
No. I think
something smells amazing.
I know
right now.
it smells so good.
It smells like churro. It smells like a freshly made churro.
I don't even know what that is. We don't even have any desserts on the menu right now. Oh, you know what it is? They're messing around with. We're doing this. All the chefs back there are rotating around, and they're going to do different ice cream sandwich combinations throughout the summer.
Yes.
It's like special homemade cookies with different types of ice cream in it. And our exec chef and one of the owners, Jason, he's talking about doing buttered popcorn ice cream with like a caramel cookie to kind of do like a caramelized popcorn kind of
like a
taste.
popcorn ball ice cream sandwich.
Like a popcorn ball ice cream
Dude,
sandwich.
I could get down with that.
Let's pull on this thread a second. You said it minutes ago. Beer and food have always been a thing for you from day one. What do beer and food mean to you? As you kind of open up this spot and you jump in with Dahl and you decide to open up a Spice Trade, its own location, can you just kind of articulate that relationship?
Well, so like I said, I've always loved food. I like cooking. I like the culinary aspect of brewing. I mean, if you look at our menu, that's a lot of the stuff that makes us unique is our culinary-driven beers. But I love eating, and I love going out to restaurants. And a big thing that I wanted to do with this location was really pair beer from around the world with street food from around the world, because there's so many different cultures out there, there's so many different flavors out there, and there's so many ways to pair the two of them together. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of this endless, infinitely interesting project to be like, what can we do next? How can we pair things together? And that's what excites me the most about this location. Our chef Jason is before coming on here, and he still owns 2 food trucks, Hunje and J Street.
Okay.
And they specialize in street food from around the world. And when I found them, I was like, we need to have these guys do our food, because like they were just making like, I've never had, that was my favorite Massaman curry I've ever had was from J Street. And when I found out that it was a white guy from Colorado making it, I was like, if this guy can make Massaman curry like that, he can make pretty much anything.
Where'd you find him? Where was the dish that you had?
The first time I had his food was outside of Joyride by Sloan's Lake.
Okay.
Off their truck.
Off their truck. And then at Jazz in the Park, I had some more of their stuff, and it's just, they don't cut any corners. They use super high quality ingredients. They do everything from scratch. They just do it right.
Yeah.
And it's delicious, and it shows.
High quality ingredients. That reminds me of something we saw in the back. Tell us about that. I mean, you got
the ingredient, the
so we have a
shelf
nice-
of stuff.
Yeah. I'm on kind of a sensory overload in here, and part of me thinks it's because I haven't been out in the wild for a while, but part of me really thinks between the tastes and the smells, and there's a visual.
Let's say it before you answer the question. Most of these kind of brew pubs where there's beer and there's food together, the food is built in, not a food truck, seem forced.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem forced, right? Like you'll get a beer and you'll get really good food at the same spot, right?
Seems like a pretty specific collaboration for
yes,
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was,
So-
it's like destiny almost. Like Jason is he homebrews he used to be a home brewer.
Okay.
I love cooking in my spare time, so like he's a professional chef and a home brewer. I'm a professional brewer and a home chef. So it's like we just get it. We get each other's minds, and we work really well together on everything.
And then you have this other guy that had a restaurant with a brewery space in it ready to go. It's like a
Smell like
perfect
cauliflower
fucking
now.
storm. Cauliflower.
Oh.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's
All right.
cauliflower.
I could take it or leave it.
No, that's the best.
Tell us
Good
about
vegetable.
the spice rack. Tell us about what goes into these beers.
In
a
how much
nutshell.
time do we have?
Yeah, I figured that was going to be the dick question of the day.
We're gonna 30 more minutes. Let's do it. I said
pick-
5:30-ish.
5:30-ish. We
Yeah.
got time.
I'm 5 minutes away.
I got
so.
nothing to do tonight. My
Yeah.
wife's cooking, and she does not care when I come home,
Nice. Well,
Don't
then you
come
can
home.
hang out for a
which
while. and
almost
try
never
some things.
happens. Yeah.
So yeah, we have a bunch of spices back there. I'll pick out a couple of my favorites. One of the ones I really like right now is our cured sumac.
Okay.
So I was telling you guys about this back there. We started this single origin saison series,
Okay.
where instead of being like a single hop beer like a lot of breweries do, we have a single spice beer. So
Okay.
the spice rotates, but the beer stays the same. Right now we have a cured sumac from Turkey. So we partnered up with this company called Burlap and Barrel out of New York City, and they're awesome. They do single origin, direct from farm spices. So they like travel to a country. They meet with different farmers. They give them a direct deal. There's no brokers. There's no importers. It's just them. They get a fair wage, and you get to like enjoy a spice that's specific to a region. Because like if you go to the grocery store and get cinnamon at like King Soopers, it's bulk spice.
Yeah.
It's probably from 3 different continents, and it all gets blended together. But this is like the cinnamon bark from one region in Vietnam, and you can like taste the terroir of that region through the spice. So we're really trying to showcase like how cool and how unique spices can be through this series.
Okay.
Only one other brother, I think this brewer, brewer. Only one other brewer has used the word terroir, I believe,
So it's
in
usually
an interview.
It's usually referred to like spontaneous fermentation when you think about terroir. So I would say Chad Jacobson if you had him on, or someone from
Was it Tamir?
Yeah.
It was Tamir.
Tamir.
Yeah. At Novel Strand.
from Novel
Dude,
Strand.
who couldn't
yeah.
fucking get my name right
Oh
to save
my
his
God,
life.
we got to go
I
do a
was-
soccer
I
episode
was
with
Jeff
Tamir.
that day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, all
That's
day.
a hard name to call someone because it's such a rare name.
Yeah.
Like you usually
I was
don't.
Jeff for an entire interview.
We need to go do an interview with him again because it's
Over
it's
a
soccer
over a
season,
game,
so,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
it'd be
for
good.
sure. No, truthfully though, like two very unique. I don't want to say specialty or niche brewers, but I mean,
Yeah, but they are.
yeah, but you are really like you guys have very firm grasp on what you want to do and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think Charlie's using the word terroir. I don't even know if I'm saying the word right.
No, you're nailing it. You're
I
nailing
couldn't
it.
spell it.
You're
I think there's
passionate
a-
about beer,
There's a J in
but
there.
not for. I don't know what. The passion is so worldly. I guess if that makes sense. It's a very
Right.
informed passion, and that's
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah, I always tell people like we brew beer inspired by culinary ingredients from around the world to showcase cultures through their flavors. Like we're trying to like get people to get excited about a different part of the world, a different culture through the ingredients that we put in, because it's a story. There's a story about what's unique to a region, what the historical context is in a region, and especially now when people like can't travel, I feel like now more than ever people need some sort of escape. So it's like it's really great to come here and be like, you know, what's in the Thai triple? Oh, it's got kaffir lime leaves and lemongrass and ginger and coriander, and that's like the base for most Thai curries. And you can talk about Thailand, and you can pair it with a Thai green curry in the kitchen or our Thai chicken wings. Like that's what I love is like is kind of bringing that whole cultural thing full circle and giving that experience to people.
That's so awesome.
How about your personal path or trajectory? I mean, did you travel a lot to influence this, or are you? I don't want to assume anything, but are you doing this more based on future plans and research, or do you have a history of regions that you've spent time in?
I mean, I'm like way overdue for an international trip. It's like coming at the worst possible time.
Yeah, I don't even want my mom to go to Michigan next week, so don't worry about that. You're fine.
So I definitely have some wanderlust. I really like traveling. I haven't, I've been to, I wouldn't say I'm like super well traveled. I've been to Italy. I went to Costa Rica. I've been to Colombia. And that's most of my like international travel.
Okay.
Central America, with the exception of kind of Italy.
So when you highlight a region, what drives that? Is it just an innate ingredient that you're really drawn to?
Honestly, I get a lot of inspiration from like food. So like I'll go out and have like, you know, like I'll visit my buddy in San Francisco and we'll go out to this amazing Thai restaurant and I'll have some flavors that I've never had before. And then I'll just go down the research rabbit hole of like understanding how that's made and how it's used and maybe how I can put that in a beer. So like, I mean, it could be anything from like a food or like a cocktail that I've had somewhere. Hell, I was out in Palisade once and I had a peach wasabi ice cream and I decided that would be a good idea for a beer. It was a terrible idea.
Not, really?
The wasabi was not.
I bet the ice cream shop
good.
would disagree with that. But
Well, the ice cream was great, but the beer version of it was
interesting.
Tasted like dirty horseradish water.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
We dumped that. That was a pilot batch.
There's something to
What are next beers? You tell us.
Yeah,
what should we be drinking
please.
next? Everybody needs
There's
one.
something
so.
to be said for flavorful beers, and I'm just gonna drop this out there because I bought it the other day on a whim. Weldworks had a lemon meringue Berliner Weiss that was.
You drank it?
I drank 5 of them.
I just don't see you as a Weldworks guy, but that was so good.
I'm not a Weldworks guy. I mean, Weldworks is kind of, I mean, I feel like they're one-hit wonders every fucking time they brew something.
Your beard isn't big enough.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This one was
Well,
pretty. My point is, it's a flavorful beer. It was bold beer. A lot of people drank it. A lot of people could talk about it. And not everybody has to enjoy it, but I feel like people can walk in here and order a jalapeno Pilsner or a Palm Springs Kolsch. Man, and also, maybe I like this place because the IBUs are in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's kind of right there.
Super. I mean, we got like 60 is about the highest we go.
Oh man, I'm like an 18 to 42 guy.
Yeah, this is good.
But yeah, everything here is. I think it's approachable. I think everybody can enjoy it and talk about it.
That was one thing we really wanted to do with the space was like, I know that I like some weird stuff and like beer nerds will probably like it, but that's not necessarily what the general public wants, or it's not necessarily what pays the bills. And so we were very careful to create a menu that was both had some options that were approachable for people, and also had some options that people could really geek out on. And like with that, the only way to get someone excited about a super geeky beer is to like act as their Sherpa and lead them down that path. And if you don't have an easy option, you're never going to get to the crazy option. So that was a big thing with creating the menu like that.
That was a great analogy too.
That was. Which came first though? Was it the location or the menu? Then did you get the location and you're okay? I'm going to get a lot of suburban folks, myself included, in a menu that's going to kind of serve them, or it was. We have this menu. We want to find the right location.
We kind of had the concept, and we stuck with it, and the neighborhood's been super. They've really taken hold of it.
Let's talk about the hood then,
Let's do it.
because we said it already. You're kind of in a craft desert.
Yeah.
All right. But I think the way you described your menu is probably the way I would describe the neighborhood. Right. Like You have regular middle class Coors Light drinking folks that live down here and maybe aren't as adventurous, but then you've got this business and technology mecca that people flock to every day, and they need a place to get a good beer from at the end of the day.
Yep.
And they might be international, they might be from different coasts, they might
Yep.
be younger and more experimental.
Yep.
And I feel like I could walk in here with my team of 8 to 12 bankers and nobody would have a complaint
Yeah.
to register.
And that was a big part. Like we very intentionally designed it that way. So we wanted to have something for everyone. If you don't like craft beer, like that's cool. Now that my mom doesn't like craft beer, doesn't mean I don't want her coming here to hang out. So we have wine, we have cocktails on tap, we have sparkling water that we make ourselves, we have kombucha, we have CBD sparkling water, we have lemonade for the kids. Like we got a lot of different options. If you're not into beer. So even if you're not into beer, you can find something you like.
Were you okay with that? Like going? I mean, obviously, you know, your relationship to Yak and Yeti is long standing.
Yeah.
But when you decided to open up a brewery, did you think this was it, or did you want more the traditional kind of, you know?
Well, like
taproom?
I had the benefit of when I first started, I was like brewer. I was like, this is my beer, this is my art. You're gonna like it.
Yeah.
And then quickly you realize that's not how the world works. Yeah. And so you have to change, you know, evolve or die kind of situation, you know. You can still make the fun stuff. You can still do your art, but you have to understand that not everybody wants your art all the time. And to be honest, like I like just sitting down and drinking a Pilsner that I don't have to think about just as much as the next guy every once in a while. So like having all of those occasions and having all those mindsets in mind is great. If someone just wants to come here and have a Pilsner, I'm cool with that. If someone, you know, people come here all the time and just drink wine, you know, and like that's not really like doesn't make me happy, but like I'm happy that they're here, and maybe someday they'll try a sour beer and they'll work their way in the beer path, you know.
Strike me as more of a restaurateur these days than maybe a brewer. I mean,
maybe
at heart, day to day, you might be a brewer, but it sounds like you've picked up some of the other.
Well, I want to I want to have a successful business. So, like, I'm sure the other parts of it are trying to keep the business successful, so that I can do the fun, nerdy things.
Hey, don't fight it, man. If it works, it works.
So why here? Why Greenwood Village? Why where we are?
Well, you know, you mentioned it before. It's kind of a brewery desert. There's really not a lot around here. There are a couple great breweries around here. Resolute's super close by. Peak View's right down the road. But that's kind of it. You know, we
from
looked at
almost DU South, really, right? I mean, like if you look at I-25,
not a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we looked
at a lot of different neighborhoods. We were like, where are we going to open? And you know, we looked at Rhino, and you look at Rhino, and you draw a 3-mile radius around River North, and there's 38 breweries in that circle. You draw a 3-mile radius around here, and there's I think 2 other breweries other than us.
Wow.
So like that's a huge part of it is like brewery density. That's super important. I mean, we did a lot of research on demographic data, on household income, on working population. Like we're on the edge of both the commercial working DTC area and the residential.
Yeah.
So we kind of get the best of both worlds when the offices are open again.
Don't worry, I'll spread the word. What about a Yak and Yeti down in this corner of the city? Anything like that on the horizon?
We kind of have one down on Hamden.
Yeah, that's the one I go to.
That's the closest one to here.
Yeah. Nothing DTC. Well, tell homie over there.
Nothing yet.
I'm just saying you could park a Yak and Yeti further south. Is Yak and Yeti serve as a built-in distributor or buyer for your beer?
Yeah, so we distribute our beer to all 4 Yak and Yeti restaurant locations, which is great to have kind of built in. I'm trying to flag someone down because I want to get some more beers.
I know, they're ignoring
us.
us. Like the boss man is busy.
I want to get some more
If we all
beers.
start looking thirsty.
No,
You look like you're dying, by the way.
I am so excited to bring my wife here, and I've never said that about any of our interviews. Like,
4-ounce, just like 3 4-ounce pours of a couple different ones.
Yes.
Who do we have here, by the way? What's your name?
Carter. I'm Carter.
Carter's going to be on The Bachelor.
Oh, right on.
Seriously?
Are you gonna wear that cheetah mask?
I am.
She's in
That's
talks.
awesome.
She's in talks, though.
I was in talks to be on Fear Factor once upon a time, yeah. And it was that was like the original. It was gonna be season 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
We do the Thai, the sumac, the scarlet, and the King Montezuma.
Yeah. 3 of each.
So 3 of each of those, Sky King, Scarlet, and Sumac. Sumac's in cans. They're there. Yeah, we got some more. Thank you. Thanks, Carter. Sorry, I just wanted to get that in because I want to make sure we can talk about some of these fun beers.
No, yeah, I'm glad you did.
Run out of time.
It's a good sign of a good boss, frankly.
So we were, what were we talking about? We were talking
location.
Location. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm not Indian food is good, but I'm more worried about the beer.
I just can't. I mean, this place is so fucking cool because it's to give people an idea, listeners. It's like Rock Bottom, but if Rock Bottom was good, food and beer, right?
So that's the struggle with most brew pubs.
Yeah.
Is like either the beer is good and the food sucks, or the food is good and the beer sucks. It's very rare that, and there's a couple of breweries that do it really well, but it's really rare that they both are kind of on the same level.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea, like one of our best-selling menu items is our spent grain pretzels.
Okay.
And on the surface of it, simple food item. You can get pretzels almost anywhere. They go awesome with beer, so that's great. But we use spent grain from our brewing process in the pretzels, and then we also proof the dough with beer, and then our cheese sauce is made with the jalapeno pilsner, and then the mustard is actually fermented. We ferment the mustard seeds with kettle soured wort from our Scarlet Giant beer. So there's like all this like beer stuff that's in that food item that makes it so delicious and complex, in addition to just it being like something you don't have to think about, just like pretzels at a brewery,
So there's not a Cisco truck pulling up on a regular basis just unloading a bunch of
pre-made pretzels. No, like they're making the dough. We're doing it all ourselves.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, who's doing that in town? Who's doing that in town in a brewery?
I don't know.
Could you have done that anywhere else, or is it because, like you said, doing the research, household income, where we are, people are down here?
Well,
obviously, you're going to pay $12 for a fucking pretzel here.
Yeah.
Probably not going to do that when I go downtown and to
Rhino.
To Rhino.
To Rhino, right? I mean, I think at the face value of it, if you just like don't know much about food and beer and you want hot pretzels, you could eat it and it would be delicious.
Yeah.
But if you want to geek out on how it's made, it's also like there's a lot of love that goes into it.
Yeah, that makes total sense. All right, okay, so explain the goal for this location.
Yeah.
So Sam compared it to being in a Rock Bottom, but I think that was more food and beer.
Yeah, not
but
atmosphere.
I honestly feel like we're in a bazaar.
Yeah,
that's
a good point.
So that was like the design of the space. I kind of talked like about experience a little bit before, but like the design was very much made to feel like you're in an outdoor street market. So like you're inside, there's kind of like a food stall over here. There's like windows, there's doors, there's hanging market lights.
Cantina type thing. I mean, it feels like it's been cobbled together a little bit. It doesn't feel intentional.
In like a weathered kind of way.
Yeah, you guys did a great job.
So we wanted it very much to feel like that meeting place. In the U.S., you don't really have a lot of those. Like you go over, like when I was in Colombia, like you go to the street, like you go to the square at night, and that's where everyone hangs out. There's like some food carts, people bring some beer, they sit on the steps, they talk with their friends, they talk with their neighbors. It's like a community meeting space. And that was something we really wanted to do here, was make it feel like a really authentic community meeting space, but give you kind of the experience like you're maybe in a Southeast Asian street market while you're here.
It's like driveways in my neighborhood these days.
Right, yeah. Every driveway is becoming a neighborhood meeting place.
And in my neighborhood specifically, it's very diverse and cultural, so it's entertaining to look up and down the street.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what this feels like.
On the beer side, I guess, knowing that your passion is brewing, what is the functionality, the intentionality of this location? What is it going to do? Is it going to be just brewing? Is it going to be packaging? What's going on here?
So we have a 15-barrel brew house in the back.
Okay.
Right now, we're trying to stock up all of our serving tanks so that we can have everything on tap that we want to have on tap. But we are planning, hopefully sooner rather than later, to bring our packaging in-house. Right now we do it out-of-house. But we do can a bunch of our beers. And hopefully sooner rather than later, maybe by August or September, we'll be able to get our own canning line in the back here and put it all under one roof. That's the hope.
What about Spice Trade 2.0?
Spice Trade 2, man, I'm just getting used to Spice Trade 1.0.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, Spice Trade 2.0, I don't know. I don't think it makes a ton of sense to expand a lot in...
I think this is for you.
Oh. Hey. I don't think it makes a ton of sense to expand a lot in Colorado or the Denver metro area.
I love the tech center. I love it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's working. Don't worry about
That
it.
was weird. We're
That
like in
was,
the middle of this podcast.
There you go.
And I
There's a
gotta-
crowd. Yeah, but he's like those fucking guys. They're,
Yeah.
They got a podcast. What the hell's a
This
podcast?
amateur podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to mention what's on this card.
Oh, I'd
That's
love to
probably
see
the
it,
goal.
but yeah,
Oh
don't
my
do it
God.
live.
Free, yeah, no one gets free pub. No one gets free pub.
Oh yeah.
Don't do it live.
Oh my God. Okay, so you want a can here and all of that, and you said prior to our interview we're doing a tour right now. You're kind of sharing time with Copper Kettle over there and
Yep.
canning your stuff there because you're
Yep.
distributing quite a bit.
Yeah,
right?
we distribute. We just got into Fort Collins and Colorado Springs. So we're distributing kind of in the metro Colorado area.
Who's running that show? Who's running the sales show?
So
Jeff Tyler.
no, not
was
me.
gonna say.
I've got one sales guy who's a rock star.
Jeez.
Jay. We self-distribute. We're a small self-distributing
I
brewery.
really would have thought there was a team of 15, 20
No.
of you.
So
Like, this is wow.
It's me. I have two brewers, or a brewer and assistant brewer, and one sales guy, and that's it. Doing
and
the
not a
beer side
significant
of
other.
things.
That's yeah.
Send
yeah,
a six-pack or two west with Sam this afternoon to Breckenridge. I know a couple of bar owners up there that we
Yeah.
could
Yes.
probably get some
Expanded to the
placement
western
in.
slope a little bit. I like it. Summit County.
What are people drinking in terms of what are you seeing in numbers from Jay in terms of the sales stuff? Is
Jay the sales guy,
Jay the sales
not
guy.
Jay
guy.
Schrader. The
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing a lot of mix packs.
Okay.
And our Little Umbrella and our Scarlet Giant, especially during the summertime, those
Okay.
things just fly off the shelf. They're good summertime beers. Whole Foods has been selling a ton of our mix packs, and honestly, our jalapeno pilsner. Ever since we canned that, people have been buying that up left and right. That's been a pretty big seller for us.
How'd you get into Whole Foods?
A lot of hard work. They have a very challenging onboarding process.
Yeah.
But once you're in, you're kind of in. And honestly, the stuff that we do matches super well with Whole Foods in
Yeah.
general. Like there are demos right there. Carter's got the beer.
Oh, that is the sexiest thing I've seen all day, other than Carter's cheetah mask.
Let's walk through these and kind of keep asking questions.
We have our Thai Triple, that's our King Montezuma chocolate stout. We have our sumac, and then we also have our Scarlet Giant, which is our hibiscus key lime sour.
Yes, nailed it.
All right, where do we
Thanks,
start,
Carter.
Brewer? You tell us. where do
Yeah,
we
I'm
start?
not even going to touch
All right.
this
No,
tray
you-
because I will
you-
fucking drop it.
So we are going to start with the single origin, the cured sumac.
Okay.
So grab one of these. This is the one with the single origin cured sumac from Turkey. So the base saison's pretty clean, but the cured sumac. Sumac is a tart red berry that is used as a finishing spice in Middle Eastern cooking, kind of how you'd use like lemon peel or lemon zest or lemon juice. So it's got that tartness to it,
Okay.
but it's also cured, which means they pack it in salt and it ferments a little bit, so it has a little bit of a vinegary tang to it from that process. But if you didn't know any better, you'd kind of think it was just like a lemony saison.
Yeah, 100%.
Like people ask what our lightest beer is, and 8 times out of 10 I'll point them towards this, and they'll love it because it's really crisp and kind of just clean and a little tangy.
Oh,
What
no, this
happens?
one's-
What happens? I guess you don't know yet because you haven't been open, with this location long enough. But in the winter, are you worried at all about this kind of beer flying off the shelves, but also out of kegs? Do you have enough kind of different things in rotation? You're not too worried about this. My point is, this tastes really good right now when it's
Right.
95 degrees.
Right.
When it's
Maybe not so
17
much during the
degrees,
winter,
exactly. Yeah. So
So I mean that's a good point. It's definitely something to think about. With the series, maybe we bump up the alcohol a little bit during the winter time, or maybe we use a more like hearty spice or something
Excellent
during the winter
choice.
time.
Not a pumpkin spice latte saison, maybe.
We
or-
do make a pumpkin spice latte
Fuck
beer, though.
yeah!
but I bet
It's
it's
called
pretty
hashtag
good.
PSL.
Soccer moms beware!
Oh my
Hashtag
God.
PSL available in the DTC
Yeah.
GVW Greenwood GWV.
Yeah, that was it. GVW.
Yeah,
I
I
really
know it was
GWV.
GWV. It doesn't roll off
Yeah.
the tongue as well. Well, no, this is like this. We talk a lot about not because we're sophisticated, but because we're assholes. We talk a lot about lawn mowing beer. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to know what the alcohol is in this because if I told my wife I was drinking this to mow the lawn, I'd drink it.
I think it's 6.4. I think.
Are you serious?
That's not bad. I mean, I drink way heavier than that to mow the lawn.
But I could get up in the morning and have one of these. If I was hungover.
Yeah, this is-
or any
No,
day.
no, I would drink this for breakfast.
You can make a beer mimosa with
I was just
some
going to
orange
say,
juice in
I
there.
don't know. I don't think we've ever broached the subject of a beer mimosa, also known as, according to Brian Schrader, a Mile High Mimosa.
Huh. Was that created in here?
Trademarked.
Oh, God. I got to stay away from trademarks.
I am so
I get in
impressed by
trouble.
this. I'm not just saying this, Jeff. My
No,
God,
that's a
like,
great
this
beer.
This is the whole thing, the whole experience. This is.
Well,
This
thanks, I
might be
appreciate
my.
that.
Did you feel like you bought one of those plane tickets from the 90s where you just got to go west
Yeah.
until you landed back
yeah,
in Denver?
Kind of. I do.
pretty
Do you do
fucking
to-go
cool.
food, by the way? My wife's asking. Not for
They've
tonight.
walked
but,
out with,
yeah.
like-
Do we what?
Do you do to-go food? Like,
We
can you
do,
order?
yeah.
Okay.
You want
good
some
to know.
to-go food? We'll
No,
put it
not
in, no
not
problem.
tonight. No, we'll do it. But I mean, seriously,
Another night,
yeah.
Catherine can come in and pick it up, too.
Yeah. No. I'm going to take a picture of the menu for her, too,
Yeah.
because we're leaving to go to Breck. She's staying home, so she may come pick something up later. But
It's a good night.
Delicious. Let's do beer number 2.
yeah.
So beer number 2 is going to be the Scarlet Giant, that pink rosé color beer.
I'm just going to turn the tray for the benefit of travelers and
you know, Lazy
It's
Susan.
like a little Lazy Susan. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
You can't say that. It's very. I read.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's something about Lazy Susan.
Man,
About-
Really?
Yeah.
I can't say anything anymore.
You can't.
So what about dumb waiter?
Same. Yeah, you can't. Well,
Damn.
well, I got nothing. I'm gonna stop.
So if I call my kid a dipshit, is that still allowed?
maybe.
I think that's allowed.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Scarlet Giant. It's a hibiscus key lime goza. So it's got, it's fermented with a wild yeast that we cultured at the Denver Botanic Gardens off of a Scarlet Giant hibiscus flower. That's where the name comes from. So we went there. We worked with their horticulturists. We had like petri dishes, and we were like sampling fruit skins and flowers. And we found a yeast that fermented beer, and that's what this is made with.
Holy shit! Can you get this in a can?
Yeah,
You
we
can?
can that. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like my go-to like summit beer because it's got electrolytes in it. We used Utah rock salt, so you can like have it after a bike ride or a hike, and it's like.
I'm gonna get this for the wife and bring it
the
home
soul.
when we're done.
Dude, this one would be amazing in a beer mosa too, frankly.
Yeah, wow. This is
Little tang.
for those of you who like a good hard seltzer, right? Which we make a lot of fun of. Just give up the hard seltzer and have one of these.
Drink a real beer.
Quite honestly, right?
This
like.
is a good beer for kind of the folks that say they don't like beer or that are only into wines.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of dig this. It's got kind of that like really dry but sort of strawberry fruit punchy kind of flavor.
Is
And the
it-
back end
Sweet.
is so clean. Like it's not. Yeah. It's not.
And
no,
less
it's-
and less carbonated too. I mean, is that intentional?
I think it's probably been sitting maybe a little bit.
Oh, okay.
It should be.
Well, then we just threw somebody under the bus.
Yeah.
Don't pay any attention to that.
It's just so.
We'll
good.
edit that out in post.
Oh my god.
Sam's really good at that. He edits about 51% of what I say out anyway.
Nice.
You haven't said anything in this interview that I have to cut out. I have not made any notes. That's minute 33.
You should keep all those notes in a single notebook.
Oh, I should. You're
That would
right.
be like a journal.
Oh my god.
could be a
A
book,
journal
you
of
can publish
Jay's.
it.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. Wait until my kids are dead. Wait till we're all dead.
Okay, so as we are kind of sipping on these, how did COVID-19 impact opening and you know your first few months? And let's just start.
I already
there.
warmed them up on this question, so this
Yeah,
should be
okay.
easy.
Okay.
I got a pre-interview.
Couple of watermelon pitches.
Yeah. No, I mean it sucks. We'd prefer to not be wearing masks our entire day, and we'd prefer to have more people than we have. In all honesty, we've been surprisingly busy, and we have been taking all of the COVID guidelines super strictly. You have to wear a mask when you're here. We're sanitizing high-touch surfaces every hour. We're doing as many things touchless as we can. So we're taking it really seriously. We want people to come out. We want people to be safe and have a good time. But it was tough. You know, we were supposed to open up in early April. We couldn't open up in early April.
Yeah.
We opened up early May with to-go beer, and then a couple weeks later we started doing to-go food, and then June 5th was our first official day for dine-in. And that's 4 weeks ago today.
Okay.
It's our 4-week
Congratulations.
anniversary. Thanks.
Congratulations. No, I mean you have done. I would say we haven't been to a lot of places. You know, since things started reopening, it is the most actual socially distanced
Yeah.
tap room we've been to. Like it's very clear we're at least 6 feet away from everybody else.
Yeah.
Like it's nice.
Yeah, I would not
appreciate
feel.
that.
I would not feel uncomfortable bringing my family here.
No, not at all.
Right. Yeah, and we have a massive patio, which helps a ton,
Yeah.
and we took over like half the parking lot, which helps a ton. So the 6 feet guidelines are pretty strict, and it doesn't quite have that marketplace feel, but it also doesn't have that pandemic feel.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we were going for.
That Ebola outbreak.
Outbreak, yeah, it doesn't have that.
Tell us, how tough was it to get into the parking lot? I mean, we've talked to some people and we've heard from some breweries that you had to get special permits and start the process for outdoor space. Almost, it sounds like before quarantine even started. But down here in Greenwood Village, you guys are in a more, I don't want to say secluded, but it's
this parking lot's totally empty.
Yeah, the parking lot's
Not
perfect
now.
for it.
Yeah.
I feel like you could just rope it off completely and nobody would know.
Yeah, so we lucked out. I mean, our Greenwood Village has been extremely helpful through all of this. They're a smaller city, so they're able to be a lot more nimble than like if we were in Denver.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of paperwork and it was a lot of process. We had to have the fire department inspect it. We had to have the city inspect it. We had to submit plans. We had to pay fees. It was a lot of work, but it went pretty quick. Okay. It actually took us longer to physically get the tables and chairs and umbrellas delivered than it took us to get the permit in place.
Wow.
Because patio furniture is back ordered everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Because everywhere is trying to
That never occurred to me.
open up outdoor
puzzles.
stuff. Yeah.
And bikes.
It's hard to find.
Yeah.
And bikes,
Puzzles and
bikes.
bikes, yep.
Bikes are hard.
Yeah.
for
Weed's
sure.
pretty hard to
Stand-up
come by too, I
paddleboards.
think.
No shit.
That's a whole other problem.
So as we we're gonna have to do a round 2 here because there's so much more to talk about. But I do got to leave.
We have 2 minutes to chug these other 2 beers.
Yes.
520 is not my hard stop.
As we drink them, I know, but I've got the equipment. You don't know how any of this works. So
I don't know how any of this shit
yeah,
works.
yeah, exactly. What are you thinking? Are you expecting another shutdown? What are you and Dahl talking about? Not just here, but also at Yak and Yeti. What has gone through your heads in the last 7 days?
I don't know. I mean, if there's anything I've learned in the last couple months, it's so hard to predict what next week's going to look like.
Yeah.
So just do the best you can.
Yeah.
And that's why we're taking all these guidelines so seriously, is because we're so lucky to even be able to be open right now.
Yeah.
And we really need to be able to be open. And so we're trying to be as stringent as we can with the guidelines. And hopefully if we're good about it and other businesses are good about it, we'll be able to at least stay open in the same capacity that we're at now. And that's kind of the best we can hope for.
Did you have much luck? Sorry, before I forget.
I was
kind of
just saying,
throwing in that 6-pack of beer with an order at Yak and Yeti. I mean, was the marketing team able to, and the sales team able to kind of do that?
We sell all our beer at Yak and Yeti. You can buy 6-packs to go there.
Were people buying them though?
What's up?
Were people buying them?
We were selling a lot of beer.
Okay.
A lot of beer through there. I mean, that was the only place we were selling beer for the last year.
Yeah.
But we've been selling a ton of beer to go here as well, and a lot of people are starting to stock up for the holiday weekend with to-go beer. So,
well, shit.
Yeah.
Let's drink.
Next one.
The next one.
All right,
yeah.
this one I love. It's the Thai Triple. It is a Belgian-style triple inspired by Thai ingredients. It's made with kaffir lime leaves, lemongrass, ginger, and coriander.
Just smell that. I said it earlier. Sensory overload. The smells in this place. You don't even have to drink the beer, for crying out loud. It's amazing.
So there's a lot of ingredients in this beer, but I would argue that it's not overwhelming, and it's pretty delicately balanced. Because sometimes when you use a lot of ingredients, it's easy to overdo any one ingredient or overdo all of them and make it kind of this undrinkable mess.
Jeff, this is you make a damn good beer. Holy shit.
What about bars and restaurants?
Yeah.
I mean, if and when the time comes, the governor just shut down bars again, so we're not going to be looking for you at the Falling Rock necessarily, or maybe we are, I don't know. But where else outside of Yak and Yeti and this tiny little spot in GWV?
For right now, it's here and it's at local liquor stores.
Go ahead and name drop a couple of killer liquor
Tipsy's,
stores.
I love the guys at Tipsy's. They're amazing people. Whole Foods, you can find our stuff. Molly's Argonaut. Hazel's up in Boulder. Wyatt's Wet Goods up in Longmont. There's a ton of smaller little ones that I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. But
Dr. Samuel J's Trunk moving west this afternoon. I guarantee there's going to be a flat going out of here.
For sure.
Tuscany down in Colorado Springs, I think, is one of them. Tuscany. Yeah.
This is unique in the best way possible, where I don't I don't know. You run the show. You're running the business, but you have beer competitors. But this isn't really even in the same race, if that makes sense. This is.
I feel like some of the beers here they have to create a category for, probably like they've done for some of the other people we've.
Well, that's the challenging thing, man, and that's what frustrates me most about like beer competitions. Like my beers fit in one category. Almost all of them are in like the herb, spice, vegetable category.
Yeah.
And it's just like, great, I can enter one beer this year, and it's up against everyone else, and it's and I don't know. Honestly, like I'm not super worried about meddling in competitions because it's not what keeps my business afloat. But it can be a little frustrating sometimes when people compare it to something else and maybe need to be able to judge it a little more objectively on its own.
You need to spin off the Yak and Yeti label so that you can submit 2 beers in the same category.
There you go, just
Double
like
it
that.
up.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
For real. I mean, fuck those guys.
You have 2 licenses.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, last one. What are we drinking now? Now
This is I saved the best for last and the most alcoholic for last. Oh, let's do a quick pop quiz. What do you think the alcohol is on this? Based on taste experience.
Oh,
5-6.
well, taste. I
can't
was
talk
going
into
to
the
say
taster
4,
glass.
but I tried to talk into the glass. I'm going to guess it's probably more in the 6.5 to 7s.
we don't know anything, Jeff.
We're-
by
yeah,
the way.
we
Like,
really
that's the
don't.
entire premise of this. Was we just like to drink beer?
Okay,
I
That's
swear to Christ, I wasn't judging you earlier.
No, I was just joking.
No,
around.
I know,
Yeah,
but I like to make it clear to people. I don't brew beer. I don't give a shit most of the time how it's brewed. I really like how it tastes.
That's the most important part.
It's sexy to watch, and
But if it doesn't taste good at the end, it probably wasn't worth whatever was done.
I'm a beer drinker, not a
So this is 9.2%.
9.2.
Yeah.
That
my nose is
explains
numb.
talking
Okay.
into the glass.
All right.
Exactly.
10.5%.
You got to take a picture of that. Jesus.
Oh,
The
my
next one's
word.
10.5. Sam's
You don't have to drink all this.
Sam's driving. I got to take the full one.
So this is a Mayan chocolate imperial stout. So I went to this awesome exhibit at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science
Okay.
that talked about how chocolate was made, and this recipe was based off of that experience that I had there. So it's an imperial stout. It's brewed with Ceylon cinnamon, which is native to Central America. It's different than like the Saigon
King
cinnamon.
Super cinnamon?
It's not that big red gum. It's more
Your
citrusy.
phone, Jay.
Um,
Oh my
Mexican
God.
vanilla, and then 4 different chili peppers. So like it's brewed with Aleppo, Pasilla Negra, Urfa, and Ancho chili peppers, like peppers that are kind of you'd find in mole normally.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I totally get that.
I can see that now that
So
you
it's got
say
a little
that.
spice on the back end, but really, really, really subtle, rich, chocolatey, velvety.
I mean, I get the chocolate right off the bat. It's awesome.
There you go. We've traveled around the world through beer.
Right, in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We can do this
20 minutes.
every week if you want. We should.
Yeah, we can
standing
have a
interview
standing
with
show,
Jeff.
just a standing show.
'cause, yeah.
That'd be a ton of fun.
You know, once you
Yeah,
have
it's
to go
easy
back to
for
work.
you.
I know. Yeah.
I'm going to be coming in here for lunch.
My God. Well,
Actually, yeah, I'm going to be coming in here for lunch.
Jeff Tyler, thank you so much. I promise you we'll come back. We
Yeah.
promise you we will come
Thanks
back and
for
do one
being
of
here,
these.
guys. This is a lot of fun.
Cheers, clink.
I hate to,
Clink.
usually these interviews we want to end as fast as possible because, not usually, sometimes, right? I could tell that you could probably talk for 3 hours.
Jeff's
I can
cooler
talk a
than
little
most
more.
of our interviewees.
Yes.
Thank you guys. You guys make me feel so nice.
Really appreciate it. Come to, my God, everybody, I know there are so many of you who live down in this area, but Spice Trade Brewing Company, we are at DTC Boulevard and in Orchard.
Yep.
You will not be let down. I mean, you can smell how good the food is. I'm going to get some food to go, maybe. Depends. And the beer is fantastic. So, Jay, what are your closing comments?
Oh, I mean,
He blacked out.
Skip Quiznos and just come here.
oh, I was trying to remember. I thought it was a
Forever.
Subway.
Is it really? It's
That's
done.
funny. It'd have to close. I thought it was a Subway.
So you're keeping this place afloat. You and FedEx.
Me and FedEx.
You are
Is there
doing it.
Single-handedly.
Is there still
Oh
a
my
daycare on the
God.
back side of the building?
There is, yeah.
Penrose. The Penrose School, yeah, they're still there.
And there's a nail salon.
There's a nail salon. There's a massage parlor.
I feel like certain people in this neighborhood could drop their kid off and not even leave the parking lot and have a full day.
And with that, we are going to end it. No, because that's a good way to end it. Jeff Tyler, thank you so much. Spice Trade Brewing Company. This is amazing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks.
Seacrest out.